Here to discuss it all is Renaissance Macro's head of technical research, Jeff deGraaf. Jeff, great to have you on. I mean, I guess we've seen these rotations before. Sometimes they're painless, sometimes they're more disruptive. Is anything getting knocked off course today in this action?
I don't think, of course, Mike. I think actually what's interesting is some of these real high flyers, particularly in the Russell 3000, the quantum names, and some of the uranium names, and some of these things that just didn't seem to have any sliver of a bearish narrative, are right at the edge of being oversold in a lot of our work. So I think that's good news, and it's usually the point at which it starts to feel a little tense out there. So I like what we're seeing from that. Look, I think this is an adjustment. We always knew, or we've all known, that I think sentiment was a little extreme. Was it extreme enough to pull the ripcord on something that's more secular? I don't think that was there. Beta certainly was a high flyer, and now we've got this mix with the Fed, and not really sure what that's going to look like. I think you're getting that pause. I don't think it disrupts trends. I think if anything, we're actually seeing some improvement in breadth, not deterioration, as we see healthcare kick in. Financials are responding well to some of the quakes and concerns that it had a month ago, and even energy, which is starting to improve, looks all right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of that either could be, kind of mean reversion or people sort of grabbing for what hasn't already moved as tech sells off, or maybe it is a trend change. What are you seeing there in terms of durability and things like the healthcare move?
I'll tell you what's interesting to me, and we've been seeing this for probably 2 or 3 months now, particularly in healthcare and a little bit in energy, that globally they've looked a lot better than they have here in the U.S. So I think there has been this focus, this tech-dominant focus in the U.S., that really was not, one, because there aren't that many tech names, globally that really matter, but that we were seeing better energy charts and breakouts in, GlaxoSmithKline and the like. And so I've been more encouraged that we're kind of catching up to what the rest of the world is doing. And in my view, that usually has more durability. You want to see this sort of global synchronization taking place. And certainly we've seen that in Asian energy, in Asian pharmaceuticals, in European pharmaceuticals. So I do think that there's something there. One of the indicators that we look at is kind of this rolling alpha model that we developed, and you've never seen returns, 3-year rolling returns from an alpha perspective, worse than what we've seen in healthcare up until about a month ago. So there really isn't anybody on the planet who's lived through this and seen these types of returns. And these are usually the types of spots that bottoms develop. Now, they can languish for a long time, so it's not a great timing tool, but just in terms of the overall conditions and where we are, when we start seeing these breakouts, we start seeing relative performance improve. We want to find the bearish narrative, not just dismiss it. So I think there's something there.
When it comes to energy, it is kind of interesting. Obviously, it hasn't gotten any help from the crude oil price, although natural gas has had a kind of a rip here lately. So does that add credence to it, do you think? Or is it telling us anything about the macro? Or does it just seem as if, there's more demand for these stocks in particular?
Yeah, it's on a relative basis. They haven't broken out yet, so we're more lukewarm on them. I mean, the absolute charts are okay, but we're more lukewarm. I think the refiners look better. You've got some of the marketing and the equipment names that are selectively better. So we're not full throttle in energy, but I would just note that even kind of a dead space like energy has started to find decent charts, and obviously relative performance is an important part of that, which we don't have yet. But I think it's okay. Again, I would just go back to the global nature. You don't have to have crude in lockstep. I mean, if you're going to tell me that crude's going to 45, then I think we probably have a problem for these energy names. But if it's stable right here, I think we're okay. And a lot of these names still look like they've got higher in them, and there's a lot of reluctance out there. And I get it because the performance has been so bad. But at least we're starting to see some glimmers.